You stood in front of that door longer than you care to admit, knocking, begging, weeping, praying, asking me why it wouldn't open again, asking why what once felt so right had now become distant, quiet, and inaccessible. And even though everything in your heart wanted to believe that it was still meant for you, even though you felt like your joy, your identity, your purpose, or even your survival was attached to what lay behind it, the Lord your God, had already made the decision to seal it. Shut, not to punish you, not to abandon you, not to watch you suffer, but because what you were asking for could no longer serve who you were becoming. And though it hurt you, I had to protect you from what you could not yet see, from what your spirit was beginning to outgrow, because there are seasons when I must rescue you from your own loyalty to the past, when I must gently pull you away from what is comfortable in order to align you with what is holy, divine, and destined. And I watched you plead for me to return what I had already removed, and I understood the ache. I heard the longing, but I also knew the full story you couldn't see, the betrayals that were hidden, the spiritual decay that had crept in unnoticed, the ways that the very thing you were begging for had already begun to suffocate your destiny. And so I did what only a loving father can do. I closed the door and allowed the silence to teach you, allowed the delay to mold you, allowed the grief to break what needed, breaking so that I could rebuild you from the inside out. And though you saw the door as rejection, I call it redirection. Though you saw it as abandonment, I call it alignment, because I'm not just a God who gives, I'm a God who governs, a God who protects, a God who makes all things new. And what I am preparing for you behind the next door is not only better, it is sacred, it is divine, it is exactly what you would have prayed for if you saw what I saw. And I know it's hard to walk away when your heart still feels tethered. I know it's hard to heal from something you never got closure from, but your spirit is ready now, your soul is awakening now, and I am whispering into your life today. Trust me with what's next, because the door I'm opening now does not just restore what you lost. It reveals what you never knew you needed. And if you will walk with me, even through the ache of unanswered questions, even through the fog of transition, you will arrive at the very place you once believed you'd never see again. A place where joy comes without sorrow attached, where love comes without conditions, where purpose is not a performance, and where peace is no longer temporary but eternal. And you will look back at that sealed door and thank me for every time I said no, for every delay, for every reroute, because the better I'm bringing is not a replacement. It's a resurrection. It's the life you were born for, waiting behind a door that only I can open. You see, my child, I never close a door without already preparing what comes next. Even if you cannot yet feel it, even if you're still standing in the hallway of uncertainty with tears in your eyes and disappointment swelling in your chest, because what feels like delay to you is actually divine strategy in motion. And what seems like abandonment is actually an unfolding orchestration of something you would have never thought to ask for, but that I, your heavenly Father, have always had in mind for you from the very beginning. And while you mourned what was lost, while you replayed every moment behind that door, wondering if it could have turned out differently, I was already building the next chapter of your story with bricks made from wisdom, experience, and hidden strength you didn't even know you had. And I need you to hear me now. There are things I had to remove, people I had to separate from your spirit, paths I had to redirect, not because you were unworthy, but because you are called to things that are higher, deeper and far more eternal than the temporary satisfaction you try to hold on to. And even though it hurt to let go, and even though your soul still whispers their name in the quiet hours of the night, what I'm doing now in the unseen realm will make sense soon, because I never subtract without the intention to multiply, never prune without the purpose to grow, and the closed door was not the end. It was the moment heaven shifted your timeline, the moment your spiritual DNA was activated to walk not by what your eyes could see, but by what your faith could feel. And some doors had to close abruptly, even painfully, because had I left them open any longer, they would have poisoned your purpose, dulled your discernment, and pulled you deeper into places I never destined you to dwell in. And you may think you were strong enough to stay, to fix it, to make it work. But I am not raising you to survive. I am preparing you to reign, and reigning requires discipline, surrender, and the ability to trust me when the road is unclear and the silence is deafening, because the greatest moves of heaven often come wrapped in quiet, in the stillness between chapters, in the moments when you feel like nothing is changing. But I tell you now, everything is changing, even if you can't see it yet, even if your emotions are still catching up to the work I'm doing behind the veil. And yes, some doors look good, felt right, even seemed blessed for a time, but they were only seasonal sanctuaries meant to carry you for a little while, not forever. And when I saw that you had gathered what you needed from that place, I closed it, not out of cruelty, but out of covenant, because I promised to lead you into all truth, not partial truth, not temporary safety, but the fullness of joy and purpose. And that means I will never allow you to settle in places that were only meant to teach you, stretch you, or reveal something to you. And while you were pleading for me to open what I'd sealed, I was quietly planting the roots of something that cannot be shaken, something built not on your past, but on my promise. And this is why you must let go of the doorknob. You must stop standing at the threshold of what used to be, because the longer you look back, the harder it will be to see what I am doing now. And I am doing something now. Yes, even in the silence, even in the stillness, even in the waiting, I am doing something, and it will be so beautiful, so specific, so undeniably me, that when it comes, you will weep not because of what was lost, but because of what I had waiting for you all along. And in that moment, you will realize that I never denied you. I only protected you from settling for less than what you were divinely created for. You see, my beloved, there are doors that feel like loss, but are really gateways into higher realms of grace. And although you have carried the ache of unanswered questions and the sting of doors slammed shut in the middle of your trusting, I want you to know that nothing was closed without my hand, and nothing was removed without my foresight. For I am not a God of accidents or abandoned blueprints. I am the master architect of every season of your life, and even when it looks like something was taken from you, I assure you it was simply me clearing the path for something more eternal, more fruitful, more aligned with your divine identity. And I know you've grown weary watching others walk through doors that seemed effortless while you stayed sealed. I know your heart has been tempted to believe that maybe I forgot you, that maybe your prayers didn't matter, but I have been with you every second, watching, waiting, working behind scenes you cannot see, and while you wept in private, I was building in secret, laying the spiritual foundation for the kind of life you wouldn't even dare dream because it seemed too good to be true. But I am the God of exceedingly and abundantly, and I do not lie. I do not tease. I do not give and take for amusement. I close what needs to close so I can open what will bless you without bleeding you, elevate you without exhausting you, fulfill you without fracturing you. And that's what I'm preparing now, even as you wonder if you're best. Days are behind you. I say they are not. They are ahead, just beyond the next yes, just beyond the next step of faith you take without having all the answers. Just beyond the moment you finally stop looking at the closed door and instead look to me, the one who holds the master key, the one who has never needed permission to bless you, the one who has chosen you again and again, even when you thought I should give up. And I know it's hard to release what once brought you comfort, hard to stop. Rereading old texts from people I asked you to let go of. Hard to stop, try to reopen situations that I made clear were no longer meant for you. But I tell you today, with urgency wrapped in love, what I have for you is not behind you, is ahead. And if you could see what I see, you would understand why I had to say no when you only want a yes. Why I had to allow the door to remain shut even when your whole body shook with grief. Because I am not just trying to give you something good. I am trying to give you something holy, something enduring, something that will make your soul exhale and say, this is what I was waiting for all along. And yes, it will come suddenly at the moment you stop striving and start trusting, at the moment you stop mourning the end and start expecting the beginning, at the moment you realize that what you called a breakdown was really a divine setup for breakthrough. And everything, yes, everything is being aligned right now. The timing, the people, the resources, the strength, the clarity, the purpose. And when I open this next door, no one will be able to shut it. No voice of doubt will be able to drown it out. No spirit of delay will be able to block it. And no enemy in hell will be able to interfere with what I've reserved for your name. Because this door will not just change your life, it will heal the years you lost, redeem the dreams you buried, and make every closed door before it finally makes sense in the light of my glory. And now, beloved child, listen to me as I reveal the final truth you've needed but were too wounded to hear. The door I closed was never meant to define you. It was meant to prepare you, to awaken you, to strip away the illusions you wrapped around your worth. And though it left you shattered, though it made you question my love, what you didn't see was the divine rescue that took place in the spiritual realm when I interrupted what could have enslaved your destiny in false comfort forever. Because what looked like a denial was a rescue from a slow spiritual death. And while you cried over what ended, I was rejoicing over what would finally begin. Because now you're not walking in circles anymore, not compromising anymore, not shrinking to fit where you were never meant to belong. And even though you've lost people, opportunities, dreams, or time, I promise you, none of it was wasted, because with me, every loss becomes seed, every ache becomes oil, and every door that closes marks the beginning of a higher door that only I can open, one that needs no validation from man, no permission from your past, no alignment with what once was, because this next door is being carved by angels, opened by grace, sealed with your name, and dripping with a favor so weighty that no counterfeits will be able to enter with you. No distractions will be able to attach themselves to you, and no demons will be able to follow you across its threshold. And you, yes you, bruised, doubting, tired, healing, you are still the one I've chosen to walk through it. And when it opens, it won't just bring provision or peace, it will bring revelation, connection, acceleration. and a level of divine satisfaction that will make you forget why you ever begged me to return you to what I had to break, because now, finally, you will see with your spirit what your heart has longed to understand. I was never trying to hurt you. I was trying to protect the version of you that I love too deeply to allow to settle for something that does not match the promise I've spoken over your life since the moment you were formed in the secret place. And now, right now, I am placing keys in your atmosphere, supernatural ones, invisible to man, but undeniable in manifestation. And they will begin to unlock everything you thought was lost, everything you thought was over, and everything you thought you missed because of delays or detours or disobedience. And I say this as the one who cannot lie. You have not missed your moment, you have not missed your calling, and you are not behind. No, you are right on time for the door I prepared, and it is opening even now in ways you won't expect, through people you haven't met, through ideas you didn't consider, and through shifts so sudden they will look like miracles. And yes, they will be miracles because I'm the same God who parts seas, moves mountains, restores the years the locusts ate, and raises dry bones back to life. And what I'm doing in your life next is not just a blessing. It is a public reversal of every closed door that once tried to convince you I had forgotten you, because I have not forgotten you. I have held every tear, I have watched every breakdown, and I have counted every silent moment when you chose to trust me instead of turning back. And now heaven is applauding, the angels are aligning, and the very gates of your future are swinging open wide. Not just to reward you, but to reveal me through you, because your testimony will not just be survival. It will be revival, and the door I'm opening will make every ounce of pain worth it, every delay meaningful, and every surrender glorious, because what's coming is not a repetition, it's resurrection. And when you step through this door, you will know it was always me.